Hi guys, in this video I am going to show to you how to connect it to a MySQL database using the object-oriented style programming in PHP. So I have already created ahead of time a sample database called employee with one table on it called emp information, which contains three rows of data, and these are the column names we have: emp name, emp age, emp occupation, emp salary. Now let us go to our Visual Studio Code editor, and in here we'll create four PHP file which we call connection.php. The other one we will call get user data.php, and then the third one will be show user data.php, and the last one will be the index.php. So inside our db connection.php we will create a class which we'll be calling a class database connection, and then inside this we'll create four private variables. Private, we call this one a host name, and then another one will be for the username, and third for the password, and the last one for our database. So we'll call this one as db name, and in here we will create a protected function which we will be calling as connect, and we will initialize our variable host name will be equal to localhost, since we are using a local web server, and this is next is the username, which this is root, and then for the password will be this will be equal to a blank password, and then the database name will be this one, employee. So this will be db name will be equal to employee, and then we will create a connection object called con, and this will be a new instance of in MySQLi method, and inside this parenthesis we'll pass in these as our parameter. So all these will be placed inside the parenthesis, and the last one for the database. Okay, after this line we will return our connection object. So the purpose of this one is to return the connection details once we will be calling this function later on. Okay, let's save this one and let us go to our get user data.php. So here we will also create another class file. We will call this one as class, and then this will be get user data, and then we will be using this, we will extend this into our get user data by using the extends keyword and paste that one. The name, this is the name of our class file in the db connection.php. So here we can create another protected function which we will be calling sorry about that, we'll be calling get details, and then inside this one we will issue a query statement which will place inside a variable called query, then select asterisk from our table called emp underscore name, emp underscore information rather, and close that with a semicolon. Now that we have these, we need to execute this query by calling the query method, and we will put the result inside our variable called result. So this will be $sign this, and then we will use this function that we created earlier, and then we will call the query method. And inside this query method, we will pass in the query statement inside as the parameter, and next we will get the number of rows by saying get num rows, and then this will be equal to our result object, and this we will call the property called num rows. After this one, we will issue an if statement, and we will test the condition for our get num rows. If this is the value is greater than 0, then the body of the if statement will be executed, which is the while loop. And inside the while loop, we will create another variable called rows, and this will be equal to our result object, and we will call the fetch underscore assoc function, and then the result of this one will be placed inside the $row variable. However, we'll place also this one inside our arrays. So we will create another variable, array variables, which we will call user data, and then this will be the array, and then equal to $row, and we will return this user data here. Since this is a function, so it should return a value once it is called. So this is our get user data script. This will go inside our database using this select asterisk from emp underscore information table, and this is a query statement. Now we need to display this to a web page by going into show user data. So we will create another class file here, and then this will be a class show user data, and then we will also extend the capability of our get user data class file by extending its capabilities here by issuing the extend command and pasting it here. And in here we will create a public function, and we will call this one as display, and then inside this display we will use our user's data object, and this will be equal to our function get details from the get user data.php file. So this will be assign this, and then this one, and in here we will issue a for each loop for each, and then we will use this one, pass it inside the for each as parameter, and then we'll create another variable called data. This will hold each details contained inside our $sign user data variable. And now that we have this for each loop and we have this data, then we can now issue an echo statement, which will be calling the ID, and then concatenate the $sign data, and inside this we will put the name of our first column ID, which is the index, and then we will add a break statement, and we also be needing the emp name, emp age, emp occupation, emp salary columns. So we will place 1, 2, 3, 4. So we will copy this one 3 times, 2, 3, 4, and we'll rename this one to name, and this will be equal to emp name. Now remember that our index name here should be the same with our column names in our table. So after the name we have age, occupation, age, and this will be emp underscore age, and occupation, occupation, occupation. So occupation will be emp underscore occupation, and the last one is for the salary. So copy this one and rename this into salary, and also rename the index to salary, and then we will issue another echo for a break statement. So this will be our class file for displaying the data into a web page. Now we need to go into our index.php. So we create our basic HTML structure here, and we will include all our PHP file right from the start of our index.php by calling the include uh, statement, and we will pass in here the db underscore connection dot php, and then close with semicolon. Another one will be include, and this will be get user data dot php, and another one is the what is this, show user data, show user data dot php. Close that with semicolon, and inside our body of the HTML will create PHP tag, and then inside this PHP tag we will create an instance object of our user data class. So we will call this one as, for example, views, and then this will be equal to a new user show user data object. And so the last line will be to echo this one, echo $views, and we will call the function of show user data called display, and paste it here. So now that we have this one, we'll now go to our web page to see if there is any error, or if we have correctly display all the data into our web page. So just type in localhost, and the name of our folder will be phpdb connection. So this will be phpdb connection and our index.php. Yes, so we got all the data that we need without any errors. So these are the steps that we have generated in order to connect our PHP code to our MySQL database using the object-oriented programming style.